For those who may not know, Reshonda Edwards Landfair, the young girl who was in the R. Kelly sex tape from the late 90s that he was prosecuted of having sex with her on camera, is coming forward to finally help prosecutors take or convict R. Kelly. I have a lot to say about this, but first I'm going to read the article. According to Yahoo, because this is where I saw this at, it says, Yahoo Entertainment, R. Kelly's original alleged underage sex tape victim is working with federal prosecutors. The first alleged child victim involved in the sex tape from R. Kelly's 2008 trial is denying the singer paid her $2 million for her silence. Christopher Brown, Esquire of Brown and Rosen LLC, is representing the victim and her family that were at the center of its original 2008 criminal case. Brown tells The Blast, this office is counsel to the child victim and her family that were the subject of the 2008 Robert Kelly, in quotations, R. Kelly trial. He adds, recent public remarks have been made suggesting that the victim and her family did not testify at the 2008 trial because they received in excess of $2 million US dollars from R. Kelly for their silence. Such public remarks are false and have no basis in reality. Brown says the victim and her family have been contacted by the United States Attorney's Office in Chicago and are cooperating with the investigation of R. Kelly. The victim and her family did not testify during R. Kelly's 2008 trial, which caused many to speculate that the hip-hop star had paid for their silence. The Blast first reported the parents of the underage victim in the R. Kelly sex tape have been buried in debt in the years since the singer was put on trial for having sex with a minor, including filing for bankruptcy 3 times. The identity of the victim in the infamous tape, which was shot sometimes between 1998 and 2000, has never publicly been revealed. Many things point to the family, including information revealed in the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, but the Blast will not disclose their name. The police began investigating R. Kelly in 2002 after being sent an alleged sex tape of Kelly with a minor. By then, the girl in the tape was 17, but her relatives stated she would have been 14 years old when the tape was filmed. Kelly was charged with child pornography, but the alleged victim never cooperated with law enforcement. In 2008, Kelly was found not guilty during the trial. According to newly uncovered court documents obtained by the Blast, in August 2007, several months before the trial began, the parents of the victim in the tape filed for bankruptcy. They listed $405,381 in assets, but $449,219 in liabilities. The family stated their average monthly income was $8,200, with monthly expenses totaling $8,400. I'm sorry, I ain't that shit. The father said he was pulling in $7,200 a month for his job as bass productions and music production, where he had been employed for 4 years. He named his employer as Madison and Ridgeland in Oak Park, Illinois. The mother worked at Macy's with monthly wages of $1,200. They claimed to only have $300 in cash on hand. The victim's father has music credits showing he worked with R. Kelly on the 2003 album Chocolate Factory, along with the 2005 TP3 Reloaded, and even as recent as 2010 for his album Love Letter. He also worked on Jaheim's 2007 album, which was produced by R. Kelly. The couple owned a home in Burbank, Illinois, with a mortgage of $240,000, a 2005 Ford Focus with $21,000 owed, and a 2006 Lincoln Navigator for $74,000. They owed tens of thousands of dollars in debts, including unpaid bills, past due credit cards balances, and thousands owed to Sears and other department stores. The monthly expenses include school tuition and costs of $668,000 a month, $2,186 for their mortgage and $1,550 for their cars. The court discharged their debt in November 2007. Per the law, people have to wait 8 years after their original bankruptcy to file a second one. But in September of 2020, despite the law, the victim's parents filed for bankruptcy, again with thousands in debt owed. They still owned the same house, but with a second mortgage of $60,000 now owed. They only had $100 in cash at the time. Ooh. Now, at the time of the bankruptcy, at this time, in 2010, they had an 18-year-old son and a 25-year-old daughter. And they listed both of them. This is very important. They listed both of them as dependents. Now, the case was dismissed months after they filed when the trustee discovered they had previously filed for bankruptcy in 2007 and had their debt discharged, telling them they wouldn't have to wait until the 8-year limit passed. Now, the parents refiled for a third time in 2016. They only listed $11,450 in personal property and owing over $100,000 to creditors. They owned a 2007 Nissan Maxima worth $7,000, guitars and amplifiers, and only had $700 in the bank. Now, the victim's parents also owed, thousands in tax debts, tens of thousands in credit card debt. They owed $3,200 on their Ford Focus that was being repossessed, among countless of other unpaid bills. Now, the couple also no longer owned their own home in Illinois. Now, at that time, in 2016, the father was working as a musician at a church in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and said he worked there for 10 years. The mother now says she was working as an office manager, and the couple made $3,700 combined monthly. Okay. In March 2017, the bankruptcy judge once again granted the parents a discharge of their debt, and the case was closed. The alleged victim and her parents have never spoken out about R. Kelly. Kelly is set to be in court for a hearing in his first federal criminal case. The singer remains in custody after being indicted on charges of child sex crimes, including producing child pornography, conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government. A separate indictment was filed in the Eastern District of New York, including charges of racketeering, kidnapping, forced labor, and sexual exploitation of a child. One of R. Kelly's attorneys, Raed Shalabi, previously told us the singer was hopeful about his day in court. I can't believe I just read all that. I really can't. I am so winded, forgive me. But I had to read that, and I'm going to explain to you why. I had to read that because I'm going to tie this in to the next story that The Sun, which is the paper that's very famous in the UK, reported about this case. So, it says, speaking out, R. Kelly victim 14, raped by singer in 2002 sex tape, is helping prosecutors in new sex trafficking case. A woman allegedly raped by singer R. Kelly in a video shot when she was 14 is cooperating with investigators on new charges against him, it has been reported. The woman identified as featuring in the tape shot in 2002 by witnesses at Kelly's 2008 trial on child pornography charges, but declined to testify against him, as I said earlier. Now, in the video, a man alleged to be Kelly could be seen engaging in sex acts and urinating on a female thought to be underage. Speaking at the time, jurors in the trial cited the woman's refusal to cooperate as a key factor in the decision to find the singer not guilty. Variety reported, and that is true. That's why he got off. Despite his acquittal, allegations of sexual misconduct have continued to surround Kelly, and on Thursday, he was arrested in Chicago while walking his dog. Federal prosecutors have filed indictments in court in Chicago and New York, charging Kelly with offenses including kidnapping, forced labor, and sexual exploitation of a child. He was already facing state charges in Illinois relating to the sexual abuse of 3 girls and a woman. He denies the charges. Now, it states that It is not yet known to the extent to which the woman in the 2002 tape has now agreed to cooperate with authorities. But attorney Michael Avenatti, who was representing other alleged victims of Kelly's and their families, claimed earlier this week that Kelly had in 2008 paid the woman's family $2 million not to testify. A similar claim is made in one of the federal indictments brought on Friday, but Christopher Brown, a lawyer representing the woman, has said the claims are false and have no basis in reality. The indictments also include details of crimes R. Kelly is alleged to have committed against a number of women, giving them the name Jane Doe to protect their identities. So, they give you a timeline of everything. They basically state, what's going on. But I really wanted to talk about that girl. And the reason why all of this is tying in is because when I read to you all the story according to Yahoo, it breaks down the money behind it. The money. The money is very important to this case because it's really about the money. The money is at the center. If you look at Reshonda Edwards Landfair's family dynamics, I'm going to explain to you how she is connected to the industry. Reshonda Edwards Landfair was part of a group called For the Cause. Her mother is Valerie Landfair. And her father, I believe his name is, her mother is Valerie Edwards Landfair. Valerie Edwards Landfair is the oldest sister to the singer Sparkle. Okay? She married a man who was a musician named Greg Landfair. They have 2 children. They have actually 4 children. They have an older brother, an older sister named Shauna. They have Greg Landfair Jr. And then they have Reshonda. Now, I think they have another son too. But anyway, getting to this, they were in a group called For the Cause. And they were the nephews and nieces of Sparkle and her brother, who was a musician who played on tour with R. Kelly. For the Cause couldn't sing a lick, which is why they only made it in Germany. But the young girl, Reshonda, was a rapper. So even though she really couldn't sing, a rapping career could be budding and they could develop her as a rap artist. So her mother would take her to the studio. In that time, Sparkle said she noticed that she was at the studio before she got there. Now, Sparkle knew R. Kelly from the age of 14. Sparkle is born around 1975. At that time, when Sparkle was 14, in 1989, R. Kelly was 22 years old. You don't think he ain't trying nothing with Sparkle? Think again. Because Sparkle was so familiar with it. It's like she knew, like, wait a minute. Something ain't right here. Now, if you know somebody for years and you could trust them, you wouldn't think that pedophilia would come to your mind, that he's trying to mess with her. You would just think like, Reshonda, you playing hooky. Why don't you focus on your books? Why don't you focus on your studies? Get your grades up. Then do this. You would think that your niece is more focused on the music and not on books. But what came to Sparkle's mind was something ain't going on right. She thought of pedophilia right away. Because you know why? Because when she was 14, more than likely the same thing happened to her. Okay? Now, when you look at the money that I broke down, this family was basically spending like crazy, spending money like water. Cars, okay? We're talking about Ford Focus. We're talking about all these cars. We're talking about having assets of about $405,000, but you in debt for about $450K. Y'all not making that much money according to your records. The first time y'all filed for bankruptcy, the Valerie Landfair was only making $1,200 a month. That means she was only pulling in a year $14,440. Okay? That ain't jack. Okay? Now, she did elevate her career because now she's an office manager, but they're only making $3,700 combined. Something ain't right in the buttermilk either, because her father worked not only on the Chocolate Factory, he not only worked on the 2007 album, but he also worked a 2005 album, but he also worked on the 2010 album, Love Letter, and the Jaheim 2007 album. Now, you know your little girl was in this videotape, right? Why are you still working with R. Kelly? Okay? Why are you still working with him? Okay? Because you know why? And I'm going to say this. They sold their little girl to that man. They sold their little girl to him with the promise of a career. Okay? They knew what it was. All right? They knew it was. She was a sacrificial lamb in the family. I'm saying it. I don't care. She was sold to that man. Okay? She was sold to R. Kelly. And they was in on a deal. Second of all, they can't sing. Their children can't sing at all. We could all go up there and get a career. But they wanted the money. Okay? And I'm going to say something else. If you saw Surviving R. Kelly, you do remember a woman named Kitty Jones, who was the DJ out in Houston. She said that R. Kelly introduced her to Reshonda Landfair without any problem. She is the girl in the tape, but people have mentioned her because she's all over social media. She introduced her back in 2011. And so she said she was curious of the images of the videotape. She saw the girl. She said that girl looks exactly like the girl in the videotape. And I'm going to tell you something. Kitty Jones is not lying. Because if you were to see a clip of the girl's face, yes, she's covered. She's not doing anything. You compare her to the girl now, even a girl back in 2011, her face has never really changed. She still has the same face at all. She has the same face. That's how I know she's not lying. And she was still in the entourage up until like 2 years ago. They say she drives around with that same car I mentioned. She drives around with a Lincoln Navigator. She drives around with cars. And remember, I read to you that they listed in 2010 their 25-year-old daughter as a dependent. Why do you think they list her as a dependent? Because she does not work. She does not work at all. Okay? People mention on social media and on YouTube that the girl don't work. She don't work at all. You a 25-year-old and you listed as a dependent. Okay? You listed as a dependent. 25-year-olds, they may not have finished their degree, but unless you have a mental condition, you go out and work. Now, I'm going to say this about Reshonda Landfair. I believe that they would give him more money. I believe that there's money that he paid them in terms of a salary. I believe he salaried this girl through the years. And I believe the reason why she's probably coming forward now is because there's not any money. I do believe Reshonda Landfair could have had a nervous breakdown at some point. I do believe also that Reshonda Landfair is certainly a victim. But I also believe that Reshonda Landfair has enjoyed the creature comforts. And I'm explaining to you why. Your family is in debt, right? But have you seen the outfits that this girl wears? This girl wears a lot of very, very trendy clothes. There is no way that your family's in debt. They're only making $3,700 combined. You're not, allegedly more than likely you're not working. How are you able to look good? Somebody is breaking you off. Sparkle ain't big of a star. So what's really going on? You don't work in the industry, apparently. Your brother works in the industry, your little brother. And they said the little brother was still working with R. Kelly. Okay? That's something that was left off. So what's really going on? And I'm going to explain to you what's going on. What's really going on is simple. was paid off. And it's something common. It's common. It happens all the time with cases like this. R. Kelly didn't want to go to jail, so he paid her off. But I believe that she's only coming forward now because there isn't any money. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this before I end it. What's going to happen after R. Kelly is convicted? What's going to happen? How are you going to integrate in society? Because let's keep it real. Once she comes forward, they're going to want that interview. And I think what she's going to do is she's going to give an interview and she's going to make millions from that interview. She's going to make money because she can't work anywhere else. The girl's not going to be able to work anywhere else. She's not going to be able to live a normal life. Her parents did her dirty. And they weren't even talented. That's the sad part about it. All thirsty to try to have a family of a replica of Jackson 5s. They couldn't sing. They were the flattest singers. It was bad. And it's like this girl is tormented, the trauma. And I'm going to say this, Lisa Van Allen is the one who released that tape. And she got immunity for that, but she should have went to jail because not only did she release the tape, she was in the tape. She gave that tape to somebody, and somebody gave it to somebody big in the industry. That's a whole nother thing. But Lisa Van Allen was in that tape, and you could look at her and see that she was 13, 14 years old. Please, you nasty heifer. You ain't no victim in my opinion either. Nah, I'm sorry. I just had to mention that. She embarrassed that little girl. She should be held accountable. She really should. And that's what I don't like about that situation. Lisa Van Allen ain't shit. Now, before I go, I'm going to say this. When she comes forward, they're going to take her photo. They're going to print her name. And because her name has already been flooded by YouTube. YouTube, Instagram, when Survivor R. Kelly was released, we didn't know what her name was. All we knew was she was RL, which is why we noticed the girl. She was listed as RL. The media put her name out there. People put her name out on Facebook. And that's why I feel that she's coming forward, because there's no money and she's trying to get one more thing out of this. And I believe she's going to get $1 million interview and she's going to get a book deal from this. She's going to talk. She's going to tell a whole bunch of stuff because she can't get a job nowhere else. She can't. And with that being said, it's your girl, Miss Ann Local, signing off. Thank you for listening to my other 2 videos. Please share this video. Really share this video. And thank you for following me, subscribing to my channel. It will be 2 years come next year, and I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you.